Welcome back to Dolor Factor Live. Give us a call if you have a question you'd like to ask Boo. Now, there's no time like the present, and it'll be quicker than waiting for me to read your email. Now, Boo, I'm sorry I cut you off at the end of something that's really heated.
It's your show.
But no. Yes, I do, but you know I have more manners than that.
I'm
to
just
go
kidding,
to the break. But, you know, we were talking earlier, and I made this point about the judges, and I know that they have criteria and so on and so forth. But, I mean, what can we do to try and make things better?
I think what has to happen is the people who are paying for these things have to come on board. We have to influence them to come on board with creating this human consciousness. And you don't have irresponsible corporate sponsorship that's paying for stuff that is detrimental to the development of our young people, of our youth. We cannot continue to do that and demand of our young people that they behave in a particular manner. And we must put more reward towards what is better for our young people. That's as simple as it is. We have to influence the people who are paying for these things that are not good for the country and the vision that the people who want to see the country develop in a particular way. These people have to be spoken to, and they must come on board and help to do that.
Yeah, unfortunately.
That comes from the lack of social consciousness, the lack of human consciousness. We cannot have sex and violence and alcohol as entertainment for our youth. And we're turning our heads as though, well, it's all right because everybody wants to make money.
I'm trying to think of some lyrics that actually explains or examples of what you're saying, but they're escaping my mind at the moment. That's just because half the time, especially when they're not from St Lucia, I don't understand a word they're saying. You know, or whatever it is, the Jamaican English and the rap and all those kind of things.
It is important that you understand, and if you don't understand, have somebody.
Oh, I do understand that it's something bad. It's just like when you're learning a foreign language, you learn all the the bad words first.
That's even more makes it more important that you understand, because then you can raise your arguments. But if you don't understand, then you cannot be part of the change.
I don't think that I don't say.
There must be in the country a counter. Something counter to this whole thing, but we cannot all stay quiet and let it happen, because we're going to run into problems with our young people, and we're going to blame them. We cannot blame our young people if we are leading them astray.
Yeah.
If
so
we're
really
taking money, investing money in leading our young people astray, but how can we complain? We're not in a position to complain. Young people young people aren't born with something intrinsic that makes them have sex at 9 years old, or 10 years old, or drink alcohol at 9 years old. They're not born with that, There's not something that is part of their character. Young people learn from the power of example. I keep saying this all the time. And it is what we help them to gravitate towards.
Yeah.
We steer them in that direction, and then we complain.
I think people...
And we complain after we've made the money off them.
I think people so underestimate the value of music when it's used correctly.
It's a very powerful medium.
It's extremely so. People say that the media have a very influential role in society, and yes, the media, we do.
Very much so.
But if we can work hand in hand, and unfortunately as life is and how the media works, good news is no news. But when we look at St Lucia, when we look at the high level of incest we have in St Lucia, the high level of people knowing, especially families knowing that their children are doing illegal activities, and the families are actually accepting and taking that in.
Let me tell you what, that goes back to the lack of human consciousness, because there are people in the world, Delia, who think their function in life is to become superlatively rich, and the function of the rest is to accommodate them in doing that. So we have people who are destitute. There are too many people in the world who are destitute. I'm not just talking about St Lucia. There are too many destitute people in the world. There are too many people going to sleep hungry. And the efforts at alleviating that problem are far inadequate. So when you have that kind of situation, people resort to their own solutions. And the world has to become a place where we're more concerned about each other, or we're never going to solve these problems. And you just made a point about the incest. And I do recall a line in a song that I wrote that says, "The man who's the father is now the child's sex partner." These are things that we live with all the time, and there is not insufficient open dialogue on these issues. That kind of dialogue is only heard in like a flash in the pan, and there's no continuity and there's no resolution. We discuss it now because an incident has happened now. So we discuss it for a week and we call the talk shows, and there's no follow-up. And after that, we move on to the next thing.
Okay. Well, let me ask you then, if you're saying these things, please lead by examples. Lead by example? I mean, I know, and I want you to show us here. You're leading by example with some of the lyrics that you have.
Well, okay, for instance, I noticed you have here.
Yes.
That's a line from one of my songs.
We will
always find reasons to build bigger prisons, because what we need is Christ for the crisis.
Yes.
So this is straightforward. When did we build Bodily? We built Bodily just not too long ago, and Bodily has been too small a while now. So.
All right, give us some more, because there are some people out there who perhaps they just hum your songs, but they don't really take it in.
That's from my song.
That's from your song, yes.
I don't see the whole of
I don't see the whole of the future of
me,
me,
country St Lucia, and looking bad. I see the whole thing in the school bag. This song was written many years ago, and basically what I was saying in that song is, if we want to see where the country is going, look into the children's school bag. It will tell you. If you find condoms in the children's school bag, we have a problem. If you find a change of clothes, we have a problem. If you find pornography and you don't find Derek Walcott's books, then we have a problem. But we never paid attention. We let it fester. And today, look at the problem we have. Now, it has been compounded, because now we have to look at what the kids do on Facebook.
Yeah. In fact, let me just open the telephone lines. If anyone would like to ask Boo a question, whether you agree with some of his statements or you disagree, whether it's something that you want to pose as an example, that you want to say, well, you know, I understand where Boo is coming from, and you know, that's a great example about the school bag. You know, have you found that in your child's school bag, any of those items, and were there warning signs that you actually took heed of instead of just ignoring them? So this is the time to give us a call. And whilst you're doing that, and a couple of emails have come through, and I haven't been able to put them through on here yet, but I will read them. But here's one of them. It's from Nims via the BBM. Being a music artist and musician is becoming a common interest amongst the youth. All right. Most of them, however, he's saying that there are issues where they just don't know where to go to find it. So if people are interested in becoming interested, or they are a musician, how can they get themselves seen and known? How do they get out there to let people know that they're available and they have an interest in music?
Okay. I think one of the things you ought to do is, first of all, you have to become proficient at what you're doing. If you play an instrument, become very good at it. That requires practice and practice and practice. You have to be very committed and disciplined. And you need to interact with people who are better than you. Don't be afraid of doing that. This is how you learn. You need to develop a network and identify the people who are important to you. Don't waste time with people who just tell you they can do this, they can do that, and they have no network. Don't pick up somebody who tells you, I'm going to manage you, and the person has no network. Is that person's of no use to you?
How would you know the person has got a network?
But that's easy to find out.
No, I'm just asking.
There are certain questions you ask the person, and if the person says, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that.
Questions like what? Because remember, some people they're starting from scratch. They don't know what you mean by network.
Okay.
Let's go to the basics.
So
what would you ask them?
I would ask them, listen, how are you going to get my music on radio in America, which is the mecca of music in the world? How are you going to get me there? Who are you going to talk to? And what is the process you're going to go through to do this? This music thing is driven by a great deal of networking. And if you don't know people, don't pick up a guy who's hanging out if you use your friend and make him your manager, because he can't do anything for you. He cannot open any doors. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but there are certain things I allow people here to do for me, but there are certain things that have to be done by my people in America, because
Why?
Because they know they know the industry. When I do jazz festival here, my people in America handle all of that. They're the ones who sign the contract. My money goes to them in America, and all I do is prepare for my performance. And that is what you have to learn to do. Take this thing very, very seriously. You need to have somebody who's going to see about your legal affairs for you. You need to have an attorney. You have to have a manager. You have to have an agent.
What's the difference between, I'm just being devil's advocate, for our viewers, what's the difference between a manager and an agent?
Okay, well, my agent sees about the bookings, and that's who we talk to and so on. The manager sees about the everyday things that I have to do, you know.
Right, okay.
When I'm here, these things are pretty mundane, everyday things. But when I get outside of St Lucia, the whole thing changes.
And you go out a lot, and a little birdie says to me that I know you'll be going out again, because you're always out and about.
Well, I'm in and out, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I won't say anything more than that, but it's good. At least, you know, it means that you're working, and it means that people are still getting to know, you know, a lot about you, and you know. But I want you to, I want the St Lucian people to know more about you. Now we're going to have to fortunately go back or go into the break now, and when we come back again, I'll say to you or remind you that you can give us a call. You really haven't got much time, and please don't spend time on emails, because sometimes there are delays and we don't get them until after the show is over. All right, so call. All right, we've closed the entries for tonight's giveaways, but you can still call in. This is Dolor Factor Live. Stay with us.